Welcome back to the Business Corner on Power 2 FM, discussing money ideas and work in association with the Career Business Hatchery. Finally this week, how to build and maintain your brand with entrepreneur Jamila Bannister. Her consultancy started in 2014, at which she advises on everything from marketing to the effective use of social media and even proper skincare, all geared towards helping individuals, groups and startups to develop and raise their profile. And when I saw this young lady's profile on social media, there's a particular post which I'm not going to make mention that said, Jamila, I need you in studio, and here she is.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Jamila, tell us your entrepreneurial journey. I know you have a lot to talk about in terms of your journey.
Yes.
And what has brought you to this place in terms of where you're at?
Well, what has brought me to this actual place is that, real quick, in 2015, I was working. I had a really nice, cushy job. Then I got an opportunity to get a scholarship, to pursue a scholarship. I did that. And, in my mind, in a perfect world, I would get what amounted to another master's. I don't know who sent me. And came back to Trinidad thinking that the job market would be great because I was so different and I had differentiated myself so much that they had no choice but to hire me. But 2 years later, that opportunity never came. So for me, I needed to really pump things into high gear in terms of building my brand. So as a result of that, the last 2 years have been calibrating and recalibrating to bring the opportunities to brand, not only for myself but for others, because I realized that the business landscape has changed so much within the last 10 years that you no longer have to be the head of a legacy business to be able to grow and scale a brand into a multi-million-dollar one. You see people doing that every day.
Jamila, when we last spoke, you made mention, or you have a concern similar to me where millennials
Yes.
are not getting the opportunity
Yes.
to really demonstrate their leadership qualities
Yes.
and the value they can bring to the business environment. Share some of those insights with us.
Well, based on when you found me, yes, I do believe that is the case because I think the business and the entrepreneurial landscape in the Caribbean and in particular in Trinidad and Tobago has been so steeped in legacy businesses and has been so steeped in having a particular image for a CEO that millennials now who are building their brands using social media, using other forms of media, growing relationships with influencers, are being left out of the conversation, but people don't realize that we are the ones that will actually be running the multi-million-dollar corporations. Legacy businesses and heads of those organizations will not be around forever. And the way people are growing businesses now, we don't need you to invest in us to be able to scale. It might take a little longer, but once I grow my presence and I grow my brand online, the beauty of technology, and I always call the internet the great equalizer because it equalizes you to me, and I could reach just as many people as you would have reached with your legacy business. So in terms of the millennials being taken seriously and the people, let's say between 25, 30 and 34 years old, there are people now who are building brands and building businesses and in a strong way because they have actually had to go through the organic process to grow that using digital media, using the internet, using other means of connecting with their core audiences that we can rival, in my mind, we can rival a CEO from a legacy business in terms of the grind. We may not have all the experience, but certainly we have to go through all the lessons because we are actually building that and we are not relying on anybody to give us an opening. We don't need to ask permission to have a business. We don't, Of course, having the mentorship from somebody who has gone on before and the experience is always a benefit. But you don't need to ask anybody's permission to be an entrepreneur anymore.
Yes,
it's not the case,
yes,
yeah.
Or even to be in leadership.
No, you don't. And I think the mere fact that we can stick with the grind, because let me tell you, this grind of business and entrepreneurship is not easy. I always say it's not for the faint of heart. because it will bring you to your knees. It has brought me to my knees more than once, right? Questioning, should I really be doing this? Is this something I really want to pursue? Am I cut out for this type of pressure? Not knowing how things changing within 24 hours drastically from high to low and from low back to high. So it's really a different type of attitude now. And I think because we are seeing our peers in other parts of the world growing businesses from YouTube, growing businesses from Instagram, growing businesses from Facebook. I see 12-year-olds online selling slime and clocking 6 figures, selling cookies, selling lemonade, and having a millennial or a Gen Z child now. You can't logically look that child in their face and tell them they can't actually grow a business when somebody in the US at their same age is doing the same thing.
Or younger.
Absolutely. You can't tell somebody that they can't patent a clip, they can't patent a recipe, right? Because if your child at 6 years old, at 10 years old, is consuming content from somebody online every day, and they have grown with that person, they're obviously going to remember that person for the rest of their life. And they didn't need money to start a YouTube channel. They just needed grit and consistency. And by the time they have leveraged that and turned that into a multi-million-dollar business, by seeing that example in front of them of somebody who is just like them, you can't logically look a Gen Z child in their face and tell them they can't grow a business. So legacy businesses now, in my mind, who have long ignored the power of branding and ignored the power of personal branding, should really be taking note of the people coming up, and be coming up at a much faster pace now. We don't need to grind for 30, 40 years in order for us to reach where we need to go.
The landscape has changed, and even in our field, Jamila, you made a point, and that is why I squeeze you so tight, when you said that the communications industry is evolving by the seconds, by the minute, is no longer just a press release, and the speech is a different kind of ball game, and I'm not sure everybody is on board with it.
Yeah, well, I realized that some of the legacy institutions put forward the concept of modern PR and other types of modern disciplines when they leave out the digital aspect, right? Because what digital does now, it has cut out the middleman of time, because it's so instantaneous. It has cut out the middleman of a manager or so, and it now requires you to be one-on-one with your audience. It's now, CEOs are no longer held in reverence because of their enigmatic personalities or the mystery that surrounds them or the ability for people not to reach them. People now require them to be available to be spoken to. People now require them to be around to hear their opinion, because as far as we are concerned, the internet and the digital economy has flattened all of those barriers.
Yes.
So we want
it's a
you
level
to be
playing field.
It's totally level now. So as much, the only thing you will have on me is experience, which every day I am building to get. But in terms of accessibility to people and opportunity, you are now, as we see it, on the same level as us.
Now, Jamila, we would need to have another conversation on the whole social media landscape and how it's evolving.
Yes.
But of course, time has run out and we have to close. What would you like to leave with the audience for today? Because now we have much more to talk about.
Well, I'd like to say definitely start growing your brand. Check out my website, www.jbannisterbranding.com. Follow me on social media. I have some cool events coming up, so you can check them out to really start growing your audience and boosting up your content, which is the lifeblood of any brand online.
There is an event you said you wanted to share.
I have an event this weekend, on 23rd of June from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Crossing Plaza in San Fernando. It's called Sip and Strategize. It's a monthly strategy event that I host with entrepreneurs. And this month we will be focusing on content creation, and I'll be teaching people all the methods that I use to create my content so that it doesn't overwhelm me, but I still am able to connect with my audience as much as possible, every day as much as possible. So try to make that process easy. I will also have a friend of mine who's a podcaster who will be coming to share his journey and how his podcast actually was able to connect him with an international magazine. And then we'll have a chance to sip, strategize, and talk to each other.
Wonderful. Jamila Bannister, Managing Director of J. Bannister Branding, was indeed a pleasure having you on our entrepreneurial segment today. And as I said, we'll continue talking.
Yes.
That brings the curtain down on the Business Corner for today. Reminder that you can contact us at the Business Corner 102@gmail.com. Also, you can catch podcasts of previous episodes or editions of the program via Power 102 FM's main page. That's it. Until next week. Bye for now.